Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Ronnie. I'm also known as Green Heart Goddess 9. Welcome. This video I'm going to be making roasted rutabaga. Now, I have a rutabaga. I made a seasonal food video and was featuring the beautiful rutabaga. This was the seasonal food of the week last week. So given that I like to celebrate any and everything whenever possible, we are celebrating the rutabaga, and I'm going to try this again willingly for the first time. I've never bought rutabaga on its own, and I'm pretty excited to try this. I've been reading a lot of great things and doing some good research and finding some good things on this. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to be doing with the rutabaga that I have. I'll also be offering other ideas as I'm going along. First thing I'm going to do is begin peeling as I'm talking. Oh, and we don't want that on there. But I've already started to peel just for time in the video. But you're going to want to take a rutabaga, and this is going to be an individual serving as well. If you're going to be using this, I would say for about 4 to 6 servings, you would want to use, I'd say, about 3 pounds of rutabaga, which would, I'm guessing, because I don't know too much about rutabaga, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be just simply 3 individual rutabagas that you would have to buy. So once you get this peeled, I'm going to cut this almost like I do my onion. Oops, sorry. But I'm gonna slice each of these ends off here. You want a very sharp knife. This is a root vegetable and it is quite thick. Just be careful cutting. Then I'm gonna slice it in half. So you see I've got my 2 halves here. I'm going to slice those in half. Actually, what I'm going to do, I just had this thought. So what I'm going to do, because I want these in 1-inch cubes, I'm going to slice these in about 1-inch slices, almost so that all of them are about even. As you have your vegetables and you're cutting your vegetables and you have, say, more than 1 vegetable and you're cooking them at the same time, it's very important to have them all about the same size. So you just want to cut each slice about the same size, and I'll show you here what I have here. And you can see, oh, but I want to drop that. Just to see that they're all about the same size, and I'll do that for the other half as well. Happy fall. Do check out that seasonal video, the seasonal food video. I'm definitely trying to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into my diet. I've been doing pretty well, and then I'd say probably towards the end of summer, the celebration got a little hype and just a little loose, and just enjoyed, you know, the remaining of summer going into fall and picking it back up again, where I'm actually also incorporating more water, more fruits and vegetables. I'm doing a lot more fasting too lately. I do a lot of sunrise sunset fasting. Okay, so as I'm talking to, I'm also going to again cut these in half. But yeah, just in definitely around this time, because in my area it's beginning to get a little colder, and so staying inside is more common. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to cut all of this just to save time. I don't want to keep everybody, but just to show you what I, again, cut these into. So then I'm going to cut these into 1-inch blocks, and I'll show you here. So probably about, I'd say you want them to look right around that size there. And I have a bowl here. I'm just gonna plop them in my bowl. I also made a really yummy looking cranberry sauce, and I tasted it too. It tastes really delicious, but I made that. I'm gonna have that with my roasted rutabaga. It's almost like an intro, a little intro welcome to Thanksgiving. I'd say probably with November season, all of November, I kind of get into this Thanksgiving type, feasting type mood. I love food. I'm a true foodie. So I'm all about trying different foods and, you know, looking into them, their nutritional value and the importance of them. Okay, so you're gonna cut all of these into nice little cubes. You're gonna do that with the entire rutabaga or rutabagas, depending on what you're doing for your recipe. I have some sunflower oil here. You can use any type of oil. This is just what I happen to have on hand. I poured about a half a cup, but I have a feeling with just the one rutabaga, I'm gonna do this by tablespoon and just go with probably a few tablespoons to start to see if that's gonna be enough to coat it. You don't want it too greasy and you don't want it too dry. So just keep an eye on as you're adding. Remember that you can always add in, you cannot take out. So then with the oil, after this, I would say you could pretty much, like, the ball is in your court as far as what kind of seasonings you'd like to put in here with this. And so the choices that I have here today, these are kind of my staples, part of my staples that I like to use pretty often. But I have thyme, leaf rosemary, and I have some onion powder as well that I'm going to be using. Sometimes I get a little froggy and I'll chop up some onions, put them in there with it. Today I'm not really feeling like doing that. We're just gonna quick fix it. Also too, fresh herbs will really enhance the flavor of this as well. This is just what I have on hand. And you know, sometimes I like to take a nice little walk to the store to go get some herbs too, but this is what we're rolling with today. So I'm just gonna show you here potentially what I would do if this was the entire rutabaga. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the rest of this because there's not that much. And if you do try this and you're feeling froggy, please feel free to come back and comment and let me know how you like this so we can all kind of join in on the rutabaga experience. I love to try new things. I don't know why I've never tried this before, but I'm really excited. And I just have a feeling it's gonna be super good. Okay, almost ready. Almost ready. Oh, and I hope everybody had a nice Halloween too. This was a great weekend. This past weekend. All right, so with that oil, we've got all our rutabaga yummy yummies here. I'm going to take my tablespoon, grab about a tablespoon to start, sunflower oil. Do another round here. And I'm gonna do 3 just because that's what I felt the need to do. Salt and pepper, let me grab that real quick. And then before I toss, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the seasonings, and you can kind of eyeball this. I would do evenly salt and pepper, sprinkle it, you wanna cover. And this is also depending on whether you're doing the savory or not, because this is, it does have a sweet flavor to it. That was my oven. You want to have your oven preheated to 425. You could do 400 to 425. I have mine on 425 because I'm really hungry and I want to help elevate this process and quicken it up a little bit. So we sprinkle with salt and pepper on the top. I'm going to add probably a few dashes of onion powder, and I'd say what I put in there so far was probably, I'd say, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and pepper, possibly less. But remember, you can always add in, you cannot take out. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of that thyme. going to grab my stir, toss this all around evenly to coat evenly as well. Any popper outers, you grab those and put them back in. And this is looking well coated. So I would say for one rutabaga, 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil is pretty good. And then on a nice baking sheet, you want to take a piece of parchment paper, set this down on the roasting pan. I'm going to do, only because I only did 1 sprinkle, I'm gonna do, on top. Sprinkle on 1 layer. Like once I get everything stirred, then I like to go ahead and add a little bit more salt and pepper. So I'm gonna do that. Oh, and I was gonna say, because this is also a little bit sweeter, you can also eliminate the pepper. You can add pepper too. Sweet and savory always goes well together, but if you don't want pepper because you want the sweet, you can always add brown sugar, possibly a little bit of butter too, vegan butter as well. It's a great versatile recipe for anyone. But just almost like sweet potatoes, just treat it like sweet potatoes, and mashed as well. And we'll talk about that too once I get everything down on here. So let me get this out of the way so we can see. Okay, so you're gonna take all your rutabaga and just spread it. And then any excess oil, I would try to grab that and put it with your rutabaga, because the heat is gonna be very high. It'll be cooking pretty well. You want as much saturation with that oil as you can. And so I'm just gonna spread everything out, kind of keep everything together, but still give it its space. Sorry, didn't realize that wasn't being able to be seen. So as you can see here, we got some nice evenly seasoned chopped rutabaga. I'm gonna put this in the oven at 425 for about 40 to 50 minutes. You're gonna take a fork, test it at the end of cooking time. You should be able to push the fork right through. I would say about halfway through the cooking time, even I would say like every 15, 20, yeah, so about halfway. Halfway in between cooking time, you want to give it a nice little toss just to make sure it's evenly cooked. Because as you're cooking, just 1 layer will get more crispy if you do not turn it, and then you'll have kind of like almost like an uneven, which isn't bad, but once you do that that nice little flip and kind of get everything all together crispy and have like a nice cooked outside, it makes for a better tasting dish. So this was the rutabaga. Also too, once you take this out and you roast it, I did have the idea of maybe mashing this and having it from roasted form into mash, and mash it with possibly a little bit, I have some oat milk, a little bit of milk, and a little bit of butter, salt, probably a little bit more salt and pepper, maybe some garlic powder, to do mashed rutabaga, almost like a mashed potato. And like I had mentioned earlier, a mashed sweet potato, where if you were gonna do a sweeter version, you would do the brown sugar and some salt, some butter, and you're good to go. So those are some other options as well. I'm going to super enjoy this with the cranberry sauce that I made earlier, that's in my freezer right now, getting a nice little chill because it was pretty hot. I like to put it in the freezer first and then in the fridge, but that's a whole nother recipe. So again, if you try this and you're feeling froggy, please do comment. This was my recipe on roasted rutabaga. I am very, very excited to try. I will most likely leave a picture on Instagram, so be looking on that. I will leave all this information and the recipe in the description box. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing yourselves. I love you so much. Peace.